Great good morning officers. I Sumit Kumar Singh welcome all of you in Magadputri YouTube channel. My dear friends, today in this video we are going to talk about the optional subject of psychology and its syllabus of UPSC Mains examination. By the gazetted notification of UPSC Union Public Service Commission of 2019, we are going to discuss in deliberate or details manner the psychology syllabus, the optional paper of psychology syllabus, both paper 1 as well as paper 2. So first we will start with paper 1, the psychology syllabus of UPSC Mains examination. So let us start. The foundations of psychology. Point number 1 is introduction. Definition of psychology, historical antecedents of psychology and trends in the 21st century, psychology and scientific methods, psychology in relation to other social sciences and natural sciences, application of psychology to societal problems. In point number 2, methods of psychology. Type of research, descriptive, evaluative, diagnostic and prognostic. Methods of research, survey, observations, case study and experiments. Characteristics of experimental designs and non-experimental designs. Quasi-experimental designs, focused group discussions, brainstorming, grounded theory approach. And point number 3, research method. Major step in psychological research: problem statement, hypothesis formulation, research design, sampling, tools of data collection, analysis and interpretations, and report writing. Fundamental versus applied research, methods of data collection, interview, observation, questionnaire and case study. Research design, ex post facto and experimental. Application and statistical techniques, t-test, two-way, ANOVA, correlations and regressions and factor analysis, item response theory. And point number 4, development of human behavior, growth and development, principles of development, role of genetic and environmental factors in determining human behavior, influence of culture factor in socialization, lifespan development, characteristics development, task promoting psychological well-being across major stages of lifespan. And point number 5, sensation, attention and perception. Sensation, concept of threshold, absolute and difference thresholds, signal detections and vigilance, factors influencing attention including a set and characteristics of stimulus, definition and concept of perception, biological factors in perception, perpetual organization, influence of past experiences, perceptual difference factor influencing space and depth perception, side estimations and perpetual readiness, the plasticity of perception, extrasensory perception, culture and perception, subliminal perception. And point number 6, learning, concept and theories of learning, behaviorist, gestalist and information processing models, the process of extensions, discrimination and generalization, programmed learning, probability learning, self-instructional learning, concept types and the schedule of reinforcement, escape, avoidance and punishment, modeling and social learning. Point number 7, memory, encoding and remembering, short-term memory, long-term memory, sensory memory, iconic memory, etionic memory, the multi-store models, levels of processing, organization and mnemonic techniques to improve memory, theories of forgetting, decay, interference and retrieval failure, meta-memory, amnesia, anti-retrograde and retrograde. In point number 8, thinking and problem solving, Piaget's theory of cognitive developments, concept formation process, information processing, reasoning and problem solving, facilitating and hindering factors in problem solving, methods of the problem solving, creative thinking and fostering creativity, factors influencing decision making and judgment, recent trends. In point number 9, motivations and emotion. Psychological and psychological basis of motivation and emotions, measurement of motivations and emotion, effects of motivation and emotion on behavior, extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, factors influencing intrinsic motivation, emotional competence and related issues. In point number 10, intelligence and aptitude, concept of intelligence and aptitude, nature and theories of intelligence, Spearman. Third stone, Gulford Forman, Stern was and GPS stars, emotional intelligence, social intelligence, measurement of intelligence and aptitudes, concept of IQ duplication, IQ constancy of IQ, measurement of multiple intelligence, fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. In point number 11, personality, definition and concept of personalities, theories of personalities, psychoanalytical, socio-cultural, interpersonal development, humanistic, behavioristic, traits and types approaches, measurements of personality, projective test and pencil paper test, the Indian approach to personality, training for personality development, latest approaches like the big 5-factor theory, the notion of self in different traditions. Point number 12, attitudes, values and interest. Definitions of attitude, values and interest, components of attitudes, formation and maintenance of attitudes, measurement of attitudes, values and interest, theories of attitude changes, strategies for fostering values, formation of stereotypes and prejudices, changing other behavior, theories of attributions, recent trends. Point number 13, languages and communication. Human language, properties, structures and linguistic hierarchy. Language accusations, predisposition, critical period, hypothesis, theories of language development, Skinner's and Chomsky, process and types of communication, effective and communications training. In point number 14, issues and perspectives in modern contemporary psychology, computer application in the psychological laboratory and psychological testing, artificial intelligence, psychocybernetics. Psychocybernetics, study of consciousness, sleep, walk, seduce, dreams, stimulus deprivations, meditations, hypnotic and drug-induced states, extrasensory perception, intersensory perception, stimulation studies. Now, we will look the psychology optional paper 2, the detailed syllabus. Psychology and issues and applications. Point number 1, psychological measurement of individual differences. The nature of individual differences, characteristics and constructions of standardized psychological tests. Types of psychological tests, the use, misuse and limitations of psychological tests, ethical issues in the use of psychological tests. Point number 2, psychological well-being and mental disorders. Concept of ill health, positive health, well-being, causal factors in mental disorder, anxiety disorder and mood disorder, schizophrenia and delusions disorder, personality disorders, substance and abuse disorders, factors influencing positive health, well-beings, lifestyle and quality of life, happiness dispositions. In point number 3, therapeutic approaches, psychodynamic therapies, behavior therapies, client-centered therapies, cognitive therapies, indigenous therapies, yoga, meditation, biofeedback therapies, prevention and rehabilitation of the mentally ill, fostering mental health. Point number 4, work psychology and organizational behavior. Personal selection and training, use of psychological tests in the industry, training and human resource development, theories of work motivation, Herzberg, Maslow's Adams Equity Theory, Potter and Lauer, Bloom, Leadership and Participatory Management, Advertising and Marketing, Stress and Stress Management, Agronomics, Consumer Psychology, Managerial Effectiveness, Transformational Leadership, Sensitivity Training, Power and Politics in Organizations. Now we will look at the point number 5, Applications of Psychology to Educational Field. Psychological principles underlying effective teaching learning process, learning styles, gifted, retarded, learning, disabled and their training. Training for improving memory and better academic achievement. Personality development and value education, education, vocational guidance and career counseling, use of psychological tests in educational institutions, effective strategies in guidance programs. Point number 6, community psychology, definition and concept of community psychology, use of small groups in social action, arousing community consciousness and action for handling social problems, group discussions making and leadership for social change, effective strategies for social change. And point number 7, rehabilitation psychology, primary, secondary and tertiary prevention program, role of psychologist, organizing of services for rehabilitation of physically, mentally and socially challenged person including old person, rehabilitations of persons suffering from substance abuse, juvenile delinquencies, criminal behaviors, rehabilitation of victims of violence, rehabilitations of HIV and AIDS victims, the role of social agencies. Point number 8, applications of psychology to disadvantaged groups. The concept of disadvantaged, deprivation, social, physical, cultural and economic consequences of disadvantaged and deprived groups. Educating and motivating the disadvantaged towards development, relative and prolonged deprivation. In point number 9, the psychological problem of social integrations. The concept of social integrations, the problems of the caste, class, religion and language conflict and prejudice, nature and mainstream of prejudice between the in-group and out-group, casual factor of such conflict and prejudice, psychological strategies for handling the conflicts and prejudice, measures to achieve social integrations. Point number 10, application of psychology in information technology and mass media. The present scenario of information technology and the mass media boom and the role of the psychologist, selection and training of psychology professionals to work in the field of IT and mass media, distance learning through IT and mass media, entrepreneurship through e-commerce, multi-level marketing, impact of TV and fostering values through IT and mass media, psychological consequences of recent development in information technology. In point number 11, psychology and economic development. Achievement, motivation and economic development, characteristic of entrepreneurial behavior, motivating and training people for entrepreneurship and economic development. Consumer rights and consumer awareness, government policies for promotion of entrepreneurship among youth, including women entrepreneurs. Point number 12, application of psychology to environment and related field. Environmental psychology, effects of noise, pollution and crowding, population psychology, psychological consequence of population explosion and high population density, motivating for small family norms, impact of rapid scientific and technological growth on degradation of environment. In point number 13, application of psychology in other fields. Point number A, military psychology, devising psychology test for defense personnel for use in selection, training and counseling, training psychologists to work with defense personnel in promoting positive health and human engineering in defense. Point number B, sports psychology, psychological interventions in improving performance of athletes and sports, persons participating in individual and team games. Point C, media influences on the pro and anti-social behaviors. In point number D, psychology of terrorism. In point number 14, psychology of gender, issues of discrimination, management of diversity, class-ceiling effects, self-fulfilling prophecy, women's and Indian society. So these are the syllabus of paper 2 of psychology paper. And we have earlier seen the detailed syllabus of paper 1 of psychology. So today in this video we conclude with both paper 1 and paper 2 of the psychology syllabus of UPSC Mains examination optional paper. So I think if you got it in a right way, and if I summarize in front of you both by topic wise and also highlight the important thing and important topics, as well as summarize words by words, topic by topic, point by point. So thank you, and like, share and subscribe my channel Magad Putra. Thank you. Have a great day.